You are looking live.
Here comes the play. Goodman at the free throw line. Jumper.
He broke his ankles. He is Houdini.
Mickey Mantle don't care about you, so why should you care about him? Nobody cares.
That's not a good call. No.
You don't like that call.
I don't like that call.
Woo, 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 woo. Not so fast.
As an article according to CBS Sports here, Lamar Jackson is entering his final year of his rookie contract with the Ravens. So all eyes this offseason, all eyes have been on the Ravens to sign their star quarterback to an extension, and deservedly so. After all he's done with, for the Ravens in his first few years, it would be kind of foolish to not sign him to an extension. And he had even made it known himself that he wanted a big extension after guys like Patrick Mahomes got after Patrick Mahomes got his big deal. So yeah, last year the Ravens exercised his 5th year option on quarterback Lamar Jackson. That was last April. So that leaves people saying, well, this, people are wondering, is this going to be Lamar Jackson's final year as a Raven? And it's like, all right, pump the brakes a little bit on that. Chill out. It's going to be fine. No need to panic. It's going to be all right. And that has not necessarily been the way Ravens fans have handled it. You tell Ravens fans to calm down and chill out, and that makes them go crazy. That makes them go that doesn't work that way. And if you're a Ravens fan or you've been around Ravens fans, you know how that goes. Because the last thing the Ravens want to do, and the last thing their fans want to do, is lose Lamar Jackson. And not exactly sure where these rumors came from, but there were a lot of rumors recently saying that, I wonder if they're going to move on from Lamar Jackson. And that urged Lamar Jackson to come out and let it be known that is not exactly what's going on. So John Harbaugh and owner Steve Bisciotti reiterated earlier this week that Jackson has not shown much urgency to discuss a new deal. If anybody believes the quarterback's hesitation stems from discontentment with Baltimore, they are sorely mistaken, according to Lamar Jackson. Hear it right from the horse's mouth, as he himself said that he loves the Ravens, and he also added that any notion of him considering a future split with the team is a false narrative. In a tweet from Lamar Jackson, he says, "I love my Ravens. I don't know who is putting that false narrative out there that I'm having thoughts about leaving. Stop trying to read my mind." So it's not clear exactly, though, who he is blaming or who he's putting this false narrative on. Is he just kind of saying, is NFL media kind of putting this out there that, maybe Lamar Jackson's going to leave the Ravens, who knows? Or is he kind of, or is there something going on between him and the front office of the Ravens? Steve Bisciotti, for example, kind of put this back on Lamar Jackson to ignite contract talks. Going back in this article from CBS Sports a little bit, Steve Bisciotti said that Jackson hasn't shown much urgency to discuss a new deal. Is that necessarily true? That you got to wonder if that is what Lamar Jackson is referring to. He didn't, but Bisciotti or Harbaugh did not suggest that Lamar Jackson wants to play elsewhere either. So there's a lot of confusion around what is going on, right? And even all of last season, in the middle of the season, there were plenty of questions to Lamar Jackson, to John Harbaugh, to Steve Bisciotti about whether or not they were going to get a deal done, right? Was the deal going to be done? And it was, look, when Lamar Jackson was asked that question, it was, I'm only worried about this season. We'll get to that in the offseason. It's now the offseason, and it seems like the Ravens are doing the classic Ravens thing where they drag their feet and they don't take this with urgency, or they don't treat it as if it's an important deal. You know, but with this going on, as I mentioned, it seems like the Ravens are dragging their feet. It's not exactly helping the anxious and anxiety-ridden Ravens fan base, because you go to any Ravens fan page, and there are one of two ways that Ravens fan pages are looking at this. There's a Ravens fan page that is saying, "Oh my God, we're not going to get Lamar Jackson. It's time to panic. It's time to be worried." And then there's the other Ravens fan page that is saying, "Don't worry about it. They'll get a deal done. They're not gonna not sign Lamar Jackson. That's just ridiculous." But with the way that this is going, I'm starting to understand why people are a little unsure, a little, anxious, not so confident, because, if you wanted to sign Lamar Jackson to a long-term deal, you probably would have done it already by now, right? And, with this year being his fifth and final year of his rookie contract, are they trying to put this on him to be, oh, you got to really go out and prove it this year? Are they trying to get, a really good year out of him before they sign him to some kind of long-term deal? The only reason I could be thinking that they haven't signed him, or that they're hesitant to, is because he got injured last year, right? He got hurt last year. He did not play a full season. So they're saying, well, maybe you're not so deserving of a long-term deal just yet. You're on the cusp. You're on the brink of deserving it, but not yet. Maybe that's the only thing I could think of. And if the Ravens don't come to a long-term deal before the start of this upcoming season, the 2022 season, who knows? You could see this kind of back and forth, this kind of negotiation game going on, like we've seen so many other times. And a lot of people are wondering, would they franchise tag Lamar Jackson for the 2023 season? It's certainly on the table if they don't get a long-term deal done, but I think the Ravens have to be very careful here. Lamar Jackson loves the Ravens. He even said it himself. You do not want to mess that up. You do not want to make him upset. You do not want to ruin something. You do not want to ruin a good thing. You have a good thing going with this guy. Don't ruin it. And if you think that you can go out and get a better quarterback right now, good luck. If you wanted to, you should have traded for Russell Wilson or something like that earlier, right? You're not going to get a better guy than Lamar Jackson right now. And it seems very weird that they have not signed him to a long-term deal yet, when that's all that, when the past year and a half, when Lamar Jackson was brought up, very, very soon later was brought up a contract extension. And, Jackson, who, Lamar Jackson in past contract matters, I should say, he's said that he wants a big deal. He feels like he's worth it, and I understand that. I think that he has earned it. I think he has proved it himself. And a nightmare scenario would be him holding out of negotiations until Baltimore ups the offer, ups the ante a little bit. You do not want a James Harden, Brooklyn Nets, James Harden, Houston Rockets type scenario. That would be awful. And the Patrick Mahomes max term deal and Aaron Rodgers max deal and all those guys that got that went and broke the bank. Lamar Jackson looking at that and saying, "Oh, I wonder how much I can get." And then after a guy who had 22 civil lawsuits of sexual assault or misconduct getting a fully guaranteed 5-year, $230 million deal, a 25-year-old Lamar Jackson who has had no sexual misconduct issues should be looking at himself and saying, well, some guy who's been alleged of 22 sexual misconduct cases, civil lawsuits, if he can get a full 5-year guarantee, $230 million deal, what can I get? And the Ravens, by waiting, the Ravens are only hurting themselves more. They're only they're only, making it tougher on themselves, which, not exactly a great strategy there from the Ravens. So in 2022, Lamar Jackson is due $23 million after his fifth-year option was exercised on his rookie deal. And it's do or die time here for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to come together and get a long-term deal done.